Jazzcast Pros.
This is not an empathetic podcast. This is not something to enable your foolishness or your ignorance. I'm here to uplift, enlighten, incite, be a beacon of fatherhood, father torch. But I'm talking to my everyday fathers who find it necessary and deem it worthy to catch their glory days through their children or without them. As men, as father, we represent strength, and all we be trained to do and what we continue to do is commit self-destruction. Our children out here are dying every day. But we worried about the latest Jordans, how big another booty is, how many of them I can get, foolishness. Just make a day that we can get together, daddy daycare, if you will, so our children can know one another, see us getting along, conversating, building. That's appropriate. What's not appropriate, what is not age appropriate or lesson, that all we can do is stand on the corner with our asses hanging out, politicking about the latest bullshit, and call yourself a man. What is age appropriate, my brothers? Chasing a young tail before they can grow and blossom? Scattering your money amongst things that don't benefit you or grow? Or would it be appropriate as men, great men, grandfathers, to embark our wisdom and experience and share the dynamics and navigate through this system that continue to kill us? How will we start living, truly living, opening our minds and freeing ourselves and emancipating our minds and our emotions and our spirituality along with our physicality and ensuring our children a tomorrow? Greetings and welcome to Father Torch, the podcast to help you new and renew fathers cope with the anxiety and stress of fatherhood so you can be the father you wish you had. Hi, I'm your host, Rob, founder and CEO of Abandonment Foundation. I am an artist. I am a father of 9. My mission is to help you reclaim your power and ease your concerns about being a father in today's social climate. I am excited and I'm happy that you are here with me today, learning something new. Let me first come on and say that this episode today might offend some. I say this first only to, not really to prepare you, but to also give you a state of awareness that some of the things I might mention might seem simple, but it is very irritating, and you will see what I mean. Today's episode is brought to you by Creative Pizza, where you get the freshest, homemade, vegan meatballs, sauce, and personal pizza you ever would taste. Come on down and join us, 766 Monroe Avenue, Creative Pizza, the only and best casual personal pizza you will find in the Rochester area. Thank you again, John and Caitlin. Big up to you, large up every time. Today's episode is about appropriation and what is the acceptable lesson in a man's act, especially as a father. I have talked about father advocacy and talked about fathers all in general, about upliftment and things of that nature. But let us examine, if you will, what is age appropriate for a father? What is acceptable? Because most of us still try our best to live a life of a young man, if you will. It's like we don't want to grow because we figure that you are no longer irrelevant. It's been said and told and taught and beaten and cussed that when you're a child, you play as a child. And when you're an adult, you put away childish things. For once you are a man who have sold his oats, if you will, or lied with a woman, you are no longer a child. Every waking moment, you age. And every waking moment, you must learn your lesson. Because you will no longer have life for yourself, but you have someone else. I ask you again, my fathers, my brothers, what is age appropriate? What was your purpose? What is your fulfillment? Because I want to know, how are you going to see your son, your daughter, look them in the face and say, what I'm doing right now is going to benefit you. So me being in a corner, screwing little girls, for the most of them nowadays, is everything. I can't even put a label on it. But nonetheless, committing unheinous acts, fighting, fussing, losing, gambling, right? Gambling your life. How is what I'm doing benefiting you? What value am I instilling in you? And is my absence a benefit or a blessing or a curse? Is what I'm doing going to benefit you or hurt you now or later? Am I living healthy? Am I speaking life? Am I giving you the truth of what it is and what it may be? Am I teaching about precaution? Am I giving you the difference between the high and low road and make you understand it still leads to the same destination? Am I giving you the truth that there's no plan as a straight road? There's always an obstacle, hills, ditches. There's a possibility of falling, rolling, skipping, or sliding. But it's my job as your father. It is my job to help you navigate. Sometimes I have to be your villain. Sometimes I have to be your friend. Sometimes I have to be, unfortunately, more than a villain. I have to create such havoc in your thinking, disturb and interfere, to encrypt doubt of your liberty and your life, your health and your ability to strive. Sometimes I have to be more than a villain. I cannot always be your hero. I may love you, I may see you, I love the growth in you, but I have to prepare. I have to prepare because there are others that will corrupt you, that will damage you, that will interfere with your thinking and frequency, that will turn you against me, and you will do it willingly. I have to prepare not to be in my feelings, not in my feelings, meaning don't take it personal. As a father, sometimes I have to witness your pain so I can help you prepare. It's hard when I don't live with you, and it's hard that I cannot be around you. It's hard that I didn't see you in your full development, but give me a chance. Allow me to see you grow more than my own expectation of you. And the only way that's going to happen is that I have to do my part in this sacrifice. Not jump the cliff, not kill myself, but to sacrifice. Because once I plant the seed in the earth womb, my youthful age, my youthful thinking has come to an end. And no matter how much I force it, I look ridiculous if I cannot grow, develop. I cannot empathize. I cannot love myself and forgive. I say this to say that we have a lot of grown children out here. It shames me and hurt my heart to say it in this fashion, but it's truth. We have a lot of grown children, young boys, advocating, promoting, and living as they think and what they say to be a grown man. That their lives and their hardship, their traumas, does not dictate, nor does it emulate the immaturity, the lack of knowledge, the lack of wisdom, and their terrible experiences. The consistency of not learning a lesson and continue to do the same thing, expecting something different, which equal to insanity. My brothers, let me say this to you. There is not one man who have never fallen short, but not every man here can say they stay in that position of falling and continuously falling short. Now, this is not to say that there's many men out here, many fathers out here, who are perceived to be short because of circumstances, situations, and scenarios done by their mothers, baby mothers, sisters, and women in general. But we're not talking to you. And to you, my brothers, keep up the fight. I pray, and I pray every day that your will be done. But to my brothers who are willfully neglectful, forgetful, hurtful, childish, and spiteful, who forgets what goes around comes around, who forgets the lesson of karma, who don't understand the hole you dig for them, you must dig for yourself. What is appropriate and what is inappropriate? It is inappropriate to be a grown man dressed like an 18-year-old and you in your 50s. Let me make that clear. It is disgraceful to see a grown man behave with his dressing alone, much like his mannerism of an 18-year-old when he is fully grown. Now, some may argue and say mental health plays a part. and say things of that nature of, well, he can't help it because of how he raised in the environment which he in. Yeah, so is a cockroach, but you see, they adapt, don't they? So does a dog, but you know what? They adapt, don't they? And we are higher beings compared to those insignificant or significant beasts or creatures. So there's no excuse we have, truly, of what is appropriate. The fact is we're not learning our lesson, and we are continually in constant turmoil because we can't distinguish age-appropriate behavior. If they're not crying, they're crying over foolishness. If they're not shouting, they're shouting over ignorance. Yes, not having an example, not having a father before you, not having the teaching and the guidance. Understand, plays a part, but it's not every part. How come no one has to teach you as a man? Teach you. Whether you saw a porn book, Playboy, you name it. Porn in general. Not one person taught you how to take down some woman's drawers, panty, slip, or anything and bore your seed into her. No one taught you that. It was instinct. It was a natural, biological instinct. Now, you may not want to bear a child because many of them don't, but nonetheless, the act promotes it. The act of sexual acts advocates it. It is a natural thing. However, what is unnatural and unacceptable, again, age appropriate, is that when you have a life that depends on your ability to instill development, cognitive behavior, and strengthening, guidance, that you take this time to play, to fight, to argue, to disregard your responsibility. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. You as a grown man, it is your duty. It is your duty, your obligation to mind your child in the best way you can. And shame on the woman, the mothers who take away this right and this ability and this honorable time and development in the child's life to deny them a father. And shame on the man who willfully disregard, disrespect, and this honorable job as parenting. I'm not here to debate whether you think is wrong a situation or scenarios or what may have been or was and is. I'm not here to debate nothing.
Hey y'all, it's your girl, Rosa Marie. And if you are enjoying this episode, check out Child Care Made Simple, the podcast to help you, the daycare owner, human resource professional, and policymaker navigate ever-changing landscape of childcare by providing you simple, safe, and effective solutions. I am the owner of Marvelous Minds Academy in Rochester, New York. My mission is to leave the world better than I found it, by ensuring childcare is not a barrier to progress for parents and helping young learners think limitless. Subscribe to the Child Care Made Simple podcast on the Jazzcast Pros Network, available right here on the podcast player you're listening to right now.
As a man, as a father, it is the most honorable thing and the most highest feeling and title you have as a man, next to God. It is your highest honor to be involved in your child's life. Now, many of you argue and say, well, I try to be in my child's life, but, they give me nothing but problems. Welcome to the club. Or you might say things like, it's just not for me. Or you don't know what I go through. I don't get support. My family don't support me. Or I'm living in a war zone. I'm behind enemy lines. They won't allow me to be the father that I can to my children. To all due respect, that may be true. Still bullshit. It's true. What you feel, what you're saying is true. There's a lot of factors, a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of it out here for us. Shit, there's things out here that's telling us that we ain't worth the skin we are printed on. It still doesn't take away the fact that you must do your best. Do your best. Surround yourself with the best. The best you know and the best you want to know. Iron sharpen iron, right? From personal experience, to the most extreme experience. Where there's a will, there's a way. We make the time for the things we want. I'm not here to argue that, some scenarios and situations in relationship are most heinous and difficult. And those require individual interference, postvention, intervention in the highest form. But I'm talking to my everyday fathers who find it necessary and deem it worthy to catch their glory days through their children or without them, but nonetheless not take care of them. Taking care of them is more than simply dropping off $1 here or two. It requires that cognitive connection, the ability to relate, to imagine what it be and what it look like to be grown, powerful, mighty, if you will. As men, as father, we represent strength, even though our women are powerful because they help bring forth life. They are life givers. But we represent strength. We represent power. We represent order, authority, given to us by the creator of life and death. And all we be trained to do and what we continue to do as a tradition is commit suicide, self-destruction. Our children out here are dying every day. But we worried about the latest Jordans, how big another booty is, how many of them I can get. It's funny, I have yet to see, despite the amount of men out here doing their thing, and I salute you, enough respect, Jack-eyed, the lack of men getting together and say, this is what my child did, this is what my daughter have done, this is what my granddaughter have done. And a lot of them have not gotten together and say, let us do things as a village for our own. Let us create a day, not style, model, not think about the latest things and the models of cars and the things of worldly foolishness. Just make a day that we can get together. Daddy daycare, if you will. So our children can know one another. See us getting along, compensating, building. That's appropriate. What's not appropriate, what is not age appropriate or lesson, that all we can do is stand on the corner with our asses hanging out, politicking about the latest bullshit. Grown-ass men picking up high schoolers, call themselves sugar daddies. You're more like rotten cane pieces of shit. You take someone who has lesser thinking and power of you, and you manipulate their mind, jack up their future, and call yourself a man. Men nowadays are disgraceful. They have no backbone. They love to destroy the ones who are weaker than them, or because their mind and soul is corrupt. What is age appropriate, my brothers? Chasing a young tail before they can grow and blossom? Scattering your money amongst things that don't benefit you or grow? Turning our queens and sisters into monsters harder than you? Or would it be appropriate as men, great men, grandfathers, great-grand, to embark our wisdom and experience and share the dynamics and navigate through this system that continue to kill us? How will we start living, truly living, opening our minds and freeing ourselves and emancipating our minds and our emotions and our spirituality, along with our physicality, and ensuring our children a tomorrow? So to my men out here, my fathers out here pretending to be something that they're not, you're not learning the lesson. You're not respecting the process. You're not supporting or emphasizing the crucial role you play, the hat that you wear, the crown that you cannot take back or give back. Although when you are dead, you are still Father, Papa, Abba. You are still the authority in that child's life. You rule their emotional wreck when you're not there. It may not be your responsibility in the regards that you cause them to do almost everything, but you hold the authority in their upbringing, in their progress, in their success, as well as their downfall, their ignorance. Please take my word and take it in the best way you can, and the most high knows. Take it with strive. humility. I see some of us out here would deny our children, don't even see our children, curse our children, but they're going to hang with a trick around the corner, pay for their services, enjoy their company, know full well that you simply just been on the clock. You pay for that. Some of us rather hang with our peoples, our friends, the people that we, surround ourselves with, and make no effort of changing or seeing ourselves for what we do is. We don't evolve. We're not evolving. We're not aging. And when I say aging, I'm not talking about the number of your years. We're not aging mentality. Our mentality is still low. We're still 18 and lower. We're not grown. Swinging dick does not make you a big man. A donkey have a dick. Does it mean that he's a grown man? No. To my listeners, I say, excuse my language. This is a passionate subject for me because I don't understand. I'm failing to understand. Don't get me wrong. I know I have my crosses to bear. I cross and I walk in heavy-handed, and I walk with mine. But I'm learning. I'm growing. To my brothers who feel stagnant and stuck in their position of thinking, acting, behaving, grow up. Shake that shit off. Be the man, be the dad you wish you had. To that child, to yourself, especially. Age-appropriate behavior. I say this again with all respects. You are a man, not a child. Behave as such. I got so caught up in this type of thinking, or I was just angry, or I didn't know, because no one would taught me, or they don't need that because I didn't have that. All these bullshit excuses. You're not a child. You're a man. You are a grown man. Start taking accountability, responsibility of yourself and your action and what you decide to do. Don't get me wrong. I know this woman out here who give us the business. Hell's business. It's fury. Fire. Again, I cannot speak nor justify someone else's action or why they do the things they do. But I can say this much to you. If you wasn't there, if you didn't beckon to every call and every shiny object, if every shape and jiggle and wiggle and swollen ass that passed you, if you wasn't there, your name could not be called. You could not be in that realm and in that regard of self-torment and tormented by someone else. It means you made the decision. You made that call. You didn't protect yourself, and you did not think twice. This is not a session of forgiveness in the regards of your ignorance. As you say in the courts, and most of us know of this, especially you're a black man, ignorance of the law is not an excuse of why you did not know this would happen or the consequences of your actions. The same goes for fatherhood, for fathers. I didn't know and I didn't have a father is not an excuse. Not an excuse. The ignorance of your abilities, not an excuse. A learning process, yes. The ability to do things differently, yes. To grow, most definitely. But it's not an excuse. It is an obstacle. It is something that needs and requires your change and ability to make that change. I see most of us would change to get a piece of ass. The little change. Most of us would change to fit a status quo. But you won't do it for your child. You won't create the atmosphere and that development that they need, the security for your blood, for your children, much less the children in the neighborhood. Our biggest asset is the ass we want to conquer for 5 seconds. Yeah, there's a lot of you out there, right? Swollen ass that don't know how to take care of it. We leave our children defenseless, and we wonder why we have so much trouble and turmoil, so much pain and torment, so much confliction. And brothers, no more excuses. I said it all, I guess, and hopefully this will work. Hopefully this will start something in that mind of yours that you keep yourself prisoner from responsibility and accountability. Guidance, love, forgiveness, and humility. Jagaid. My brothers, age-appropriate behavior. My fathers, age-appropriate behavior. Grow, learn from your pain. Stop guarding it. Stop living through it, but learn from it. Teach your children. Love your children. Be there the most and the best that you can. And those who cannot be and cannot do it 100%, not only that I salute you and praise you and support you in many ways that I can and whatever I can, again, reach out. But for those who cannot and unable to, leave that door open. Don't kill yourself, but leave that door open. Because the one thing children are good for is that they always return to the source of which they came from. Mark my words with that. They always return, regardless of where they are in their life. They always return. And when you are still the same same way, when you still that person, no excuse. Shame on you. No excuse. And this is not an empathetic podcast. This is not something to enable your foolishness or your ignorance. Again, I'm here to uplift, enlighten, incite, be a beacon of fatherhood, father torch. Be the father you wish you had. Salut. Jah Rastafari. Selassie I the First. Give thanks. Thank you all. Be blessed. And also check out Creative Pizza. Fresh dough, fresh veggies, homemade sauce, vegan meatballs, and sexy cheese. 766 Monroe Avenue. You cannot miss them. Creative Pizza, y'all.
Jazzcast Pros.
Are you an entrepreneur at heart with the mind of a hustler? Then you found the perfect podcast to help you turn your side hustle into a profitable small business so that you can support yourself and your community. Welcome to the Heart of the Hustle podcast. I am your host, Coach Mo, an award-winning serial entrepreneur with an unconventional business background. You can call me Motivation. I am a predicate felon who struggled to survive in the workforce, and I wanted a better quality of life for me and my family. And that's when I realized that entrepreneurship was my best course of action for reform. I am the owner of the Groom Room Men's Spa and Lounge, Rochester, New York's premier day spa for men's self-care and wellness. Over the pandemic, I began coaching struggling entrepreneurs inside my private Facebook group called Business Behaviors. With this podcast, my mission is to teach you all of the things I wish I knew while starting a business so that you can avoid the pitfalls of entrepreneurship and turn your passion into profits legally. Join me and expert guests as we cover topics such as business formation and legal entities. Should your company be a nonprofit or for-profit? Mental wellness for CEOs, how to build community, business credit and budgets, and how to get a return on your investment. Are you ready to elevate from a hustler's mindset to that of a CEO? Subscribe now so that you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop. The Heart of the Hustle podcast on the Jazzcast Pros Network. Over and out.